And welcome back. We get into this conversation surrounding the situation in Rivers State as it concerns the tenure of the local government chairman. What's their tenure supposed to be? Well, it was supposed to have ended yesterday as at midnight. It's that what it is. Some youth, there's news out there that some youth have taken over 2 local governments. Threats coming in from ex-agitators and all of that. What's going on? What is happening to Rivers State? The politics in Rivers State has been very interesting, and a lot of people wonder at what point do we step aside and let governance take place. The governor had a briefing this morning where he talked about, gave a directive to the administrators in the local government councils to take charge of the situation. Is that what it ought to be? But these are some of the things we'll be looking at in the conversation today. And to help us get into today, we have Senator Olaka Nwogu, who is representing Rivers South constituency. He joins us via Zoom from Rivers State. Thank you for joining us, Senator Nwogu.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, Barakwe. Good morning.
And also joining us from Rivers State as well, from Port Harcourt, we have Okpunabo Inkotaria, a public affairs analyst and a former SA media to the Rivers State governor, joins us also virtually from Port Harcourt. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning and thank you, Nigeria.
All right, so let's start out with you, Senator Nwogu. Let's look at you being the legislator and now, well, the tenure of the local government chairman is supposed to have expired. But legally speaking, from the point of view of a legislator, what's going on?
Well, basically, what's happened or what's happening now is, I think for the majority of our people, there is no clear communication or information as to what the laws are concerning these developments. We are witnessing a very unique phase in our history where the law is trying to prevail and people want to do things the way they like to do things. Yes, people were elected to a tenure of 3 years. Yes, ordinarily they should leave office at the end of those 3 years. But new persons, replacement officials have not been elected. Now the Constitution says that local government administration must be run by elected officials. That is the Constitution. Section 7(1) says it is guaranteed that the administration of local government shall be by elected people. And elections ought to have held several months back. For curious reasons, those who are responsible for holding elections did not do that. There was enough time for them to do it. The tenure had been running. They know that at the end of the 3rd year, this person's tenure end. And then the assembly tried to bring some consciousness when it realized that this tenure is about to end and the elections were not holding. The assembly had to wade in, because if you go by section 8 of the Constitution, it gives responsibility for the composition, for structure, for issues of tenure to the assembly to decide. It is the prerogative, the power of the assembly, not the executive, to make laws for the local governments. And so the assembly, now, previously in 2018, there is what was called the Rivers State, or what is called the Rivers State Local Government Administration Law. It exists and it guides composition, structure, etc. So realizing that elections may not hold, or there could be circumstances that will prevent the continuation of elected rule at the local government, the State Assembly made laws pursuant to Section 135, sub 3 of the Constitution that deals with incapacity to have elected officials, either at the federal government level they just domesticated a federal law to the state, to the local government, which is the proper thing for them to do. The 10th Assembly did something very profound. It has actually tried to entrench democratic rule. So whatever people see going on, it's a battle for the sustenance of democracy at the local government, rather than an autocratic imposition of leadership, or the way we like to do things, which is knowing that the law exists and doing something else for convenience. There is a battle, and an exciting battle, to make democracy to be so deepened that subsequent governments, be it Rivers State or any other state, will know that the constitutional imperative is to conduct elections and give the people elected officials. If you don't do that, it is possible for the assembly to domesticate a section of the federal law as provided for in the constitution, so that democratic rule can continue. This is a continuation of democratic rule, nothing different from that, and it's very appropriate. It's in order. Okay.
Mr. Inkotaria, this conversation, of course, we'd like you to weigh in on this particular question of what's going on in Rivers State. A tenure of the local government chairman has expired. The governor has given a directive that the administrators, head of administrations in local governments, take over the running of the local government. And the senators talked about the fact that the government then knew that this was going to happen, but they did not organize elections, even though the state assembly, state assembly tried to bring focus or tried to put things, to keep things in perspective. That was also jettisoned. But what's your take on this?
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. First and foremost, I want to say that there's a state assembly law that the court dismissed as being illegal ultra-legislation because they didn't have the power to so do. You already have decided cases in the case of Abia State, even in the case of Lagos State, when the president was the governor of the state. Here the Supreme Court ruled that you cannot do laws retroactively by elongating the tenure of the local government chairman. And so if you talk of the assembly, with laws passed by the assembly, which is set aside by even the court, if you talk of the laws, then that would be extending the tenure of the local government chairman, which would have been in clear contradiction and violation of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So we cannot, as we speak right now, talk of the laws passed by the assembly that A, purportedly aims to cure the issue of the elections that were not conducted before now. And if you talk of the elections that were not conducted before the expiration of the local government chairman, you will agree with me that the governor, being the chief security officer of the state, definitely is privy to certain security reports. We had the overheated political engine in Rivers State, and definitely he must have acted in reliance upon the reports he got that if those elections were conducted, maybe it was going to snowball into crisis, or it was going to fester the crisis. Remember, the governor himself said he had just been in power for just 4 months. As we are talking of de facto power, we are not talking of the de jure power, because he got into office slightly over a year ago. But he took full control of governance just 4 months ago. And if you talk of 4 months ago, and you want to conduct elections, just when you take control of government, you want to conduct elections, you can just imagine what would have happened if that election had been conducted. And don't forget that the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory himself said that was even after the Supreme Court judgment, said that even though the governor had won at the Supreme Court, they are still going to make the state ungovernable. This is not something that is hidden. It is said openly. So the governor probably must have been in possession of certain information that would have prevented. And let me also say this. We also have a plethora of cases in court on the same local government election, on the same issue of the legitimacy of the 27, I call them former lawmakers, legitimacy of the 27 former lawmakers. And that matters are still pending in court. And so to a very large extent, you find out that the hands of the governors are fettered as a result of the tendency of some of these matters that are in court. And so in order and in tandem with the provisions of our Constitution, we have said you cannot elongate the tenure of the local government. This is not the first time we are having a caretaker committee in place. You cannot elongate the tenure of the local government chairman. Let us have an interim measure, and within this period, we cannot conduct elections for the elected local government chairman to come in. And I don't think there is anything wrong with that whatsoever. Because those laws, even the Justice Karima, now go just set aside those laws that were passed by the House of Assembly because he said they didn't have the power to do so. So if there is no way the governor would have acted on those laws that the court dismissed or set aside and rendered invalid. There is no way that the governor was going to act on those laws. Unfortunately.
All right, let me come to you, Senator Nwogo. This is the situation according to Mr. Okunabo Inkotaria. You've heard his own explanation saying that, the governor claims that he only came into full control 4 months ago, and perhaps there is some intelligence that's making it difficult for him to conduct local government elections. But this is the situation now. The tenure of the local government chairman has now expired, and they should have no business in office as a result of there being no law backing their extension or their tenure elongation in office, as the case might be. The question now is, why are they still trying to hold on to their seats, or precisely what is their own argument?
Okay, please I would like to inform my friend, Brother Okunabo. I think there are things he's missing here. There are ways we do things, and there's how we ought to do things. The law is very clear. The state government has no role. The governor has no role to play when it comes to composition, structure, local government. It's clearly the function of the state assembly. It should refer himself towards section 7(1) and 8(c), especially section 8 of the Constitution. It says it's the assembly that will make the laws for the local government. Now, there is a law, 2018, River State Local Government Law 2018. In 2023, it was amended. You should check the amendment. That amendment 2023 is not challenged in any court. That is the valid law of the administration of local government in River State. It clearly says there shall be no interim caretaker or any other form, either other than the elected local government. It was done pursuant to section 7 that says it must only be democratic. Under the law, you don't have an option. It's not to choose and pick. The governor has been in office for 1 year. The SIEC, which is the state SIEC, has responsibility for conducting elections. It does not say if they fail to do it, create caretaker. No, it does not say so. And let me talk about this tenure elongation, erroneous understanding of tenure elongation. Section 135 of the Constitution says, for Mr. President, President of the Federal Republic, if for any reason Nigeria is unable to conduct elections to elect a new president, the National Assembly can extend the tenure of the president for 6 months at a time. Constitution says you can extend that of the president for 6 months at a time. So what the State Assembly did was, when it discovered that there was reluctance, probably a refusal to conduct local government elections, it now made a law that said that the elected people can remain in office just as for president for another 6 months. The mischief they were trying to cure is to bring in non-democratically elected people. Now, if you don't want them to continue their tenure, any extension, to benefit from any extension, you should simply conduct elections. There was enough time to conduct elections. There's still time to start the process of elections. But when you want to supplant elected people with caretaker or any other form, The Constitution frowns on it. The State Assembly has done the needful by making it impossible to do that. Now, when he says that it has been set aside, yes, a particular judge had gone ahead. At the time when this matter was pending in the Court of Appeal, gone ahead to give ruling, which should not be, because when a matter has left a state high court to the Court of Appeal, you do nothing, you wait. But in this case, gone ahead to only give judgment against the aspect of the extension. But it did not touch anything that clearly says you cannot put in unelected people. So as it stands now, there is no law that allows the governor or any other person, no matter the circumstance or the story, to put anybody in office that is not elected in the local government. It's expressly forbidden. Now, recall that even at the beginning of this crisis, so to speak, when the president intervened, one of the 8-point agenda was clear. There shall be no caretaker committee in local governments. This is how many months ago? Maybe 6-7 months ago? You need only 3 months' notice to conduct elections. So you knew there would be no caretaker so many months ago. Yet the leaders allowed the situation to fester and get to this point because there was an intention to foist unelected people on the local government. We call also that the federal government has approached the Supreme Court for interpretation to ensure that local governments remain both autonomous and to have their autonomy and also remain democratic pursuant to the Constitution. You see, all the people involved, elected people, swore to the Constitution, to an oath to defend the Constitution. It's our grand norm. Remove the Constitution, which I have chaos. So any attempt to supplant the Constitution with any other process is an invitation to anarchy. And people who hold offices should ensure that they stick to the Constitution so that all of us, the rest of the people, can follow, knowing that the laws prevail. We are a nation of laws. We are not for people's whim and caprices. You may not find it fanciful, but it was an option you should not have even allowed in the first place.
Your point is taken, Senator. I just want to quickly, confirm my question to you because it seems to have been implied in the answer that you have given, but I want to just get a clear confirmation. So you're saying that the House of Assembly has extended the tenure of the local government chairmen who were democratically elected. Is that what you're saying? That they have a 6-month extension according to the laws made by the State House of Assembly?
Yes. Now, pursuant to their powers by the Constitution to make laws and finding that it was difficult at the way things were going, there was a chance that the government may not pursue the conduct of elections to bring in new elected chairmen.
It doesn't matter, Senator, it doesn't matter that the tenure of even the State House of Assembly, the legality of them even sitting is still being disputed. Are you not concerned about the controversy also, bedeviling the State House of Assembly?
No, there are different things. First of all, the legality of the assembly is before the courts. Also, as it stands, the position of even the court is that the assembly is valid. We call that there have been several judgments back and forth, but the state assembly under Amewule, by the judgment of the Omotosho, Justice Omotoshi, is the recognized assembly. That stands. Until the Court of Appeal or any superior court says that, you find that some people have approached courts of equal jurisdiction, but this is the only ruling that has been there. So as it stands now, the assembly under this, but not minding if that was the case. In 2023, before now, the law of the assembly, which has not been challenged in any court, clearly says that you cannot put in a caretaker committee. So there is no provision under any law for anybody to set up a caretaker committee. It does not exist. All
right, Senator, let me go to Mr. Inko-Tariah now. I mean, you have explained your own points, but Mr. Inko-Tariah, I don't know, you have also tried to, will I say, give a soft landing to why it might be that local government elections were not conducted based on the controversy that has been brewing politically in Rivers State. But some people will say that it's no excuse. We've seen how even in places in this country where we had assumed that there will be no elections as a result of just how tough things have been security-wise, even in the Northeast where there was terrorism, we've seen that elections were conducted in those places to, for the state governors to see a continuation in office or of what is constitutionally required. Is this not politics taken too far in the case of local government chairmanship in Rivers State? Do you think that there is really a legal standing for the executive arm, which the state independent electoral body is under, not to have conducted local government elections?
I just hope the clarity of what I have to say will penetrate the minds of our viewers and logic captures at that. The truth about it is the governor has not said anything to me, and I don't think the governor has come on earth to say anything to anybody why the local government elections are not conducted. But it's just a matter of conjecture that when you consider the overheated political engine, probably it was quite precarious, very fallow for anybody to have conducted an election then. He is the governor, so he's in possession of security information and has his reason until he comes out to tell us why it will be in the realm of conjecture. I haven't said this. In reference to what my brother, my good friend, said concerning the elongation of the term of local government chairman. I mean, we have decided cases. Even when the president himself was the governor of Lagos State, you remember when they went to court to elongate the tenure of the local government, and the court said no. And even in the case of Abia, the Attorney General of Abia State and 25 others, and the Attorney General of the court said no, because the law was going to be retroactive. And the law has retroactive law. So you cannot conduct an election, you cannot extend the tenure of local government chairman, because, and he's talking of the Constitution that is sworn to uphold. Yes, and if they sworn to uphold the Constitution, it then means their tenures are spared, so they should leave, because the Constitution says 3 years. And until the Supreme Court reverses itself, that is the law. Yes, the matters are subjected to the clinical processes of the legal lab, no doubt about that. We expect the judges to use their microscope and do the dissection they need to do and come up with it. But at the end of the day, it's going to stop at the Supreme Court. And we're ready to see if the Supreme Court will reverse itself on this issue of tenure elongation. Whether the governor conducted an election or not, does not justify the elongation of their tenure. If the governor did not conduct elections before their tenure expires, then you can also take him to court for that. That's a different matter altogether. But there can never be a justification, not even the House of Assembly. Because the High Court has just passed that ruling. You don't have the right. Yes, you have the right to make laws for the good governance of the local government. No doubt about that. But not the right to extend or elongate the tenure of local government chairman. The Supreme Court is clear on that. So the House of Assembly cannot. It is ultra violent. It has even gone into that. But we had an assembly that was galloping through the fields of legislative procedures to the height of errors. And that is why they are where they are today. I'm talking about the 25, 26 members. Just in the very smoke the belt, they're consuming the very smoke the belt.
Yeah, but some people will say, some of this.
Right. So the issue of the, excuse me, just 1 second. The issue, let's make that distinction. The issue of the conduct of local government elections and the issue of elongation are two separate issues altogether. Completely two separate issues. So because the local government elections are not conducted, you are going to extend the tenure, because the House of Assembly, the court has said the House of Assembly has no right, and we are not talking about just the High Court, we are not talking about Federal High Court, we are Court of Appeal, we are talking about Supreme Court judgment. Even when the president was the local government chairman, and I was Lagos State governor. So they don't have the first right to extend to elongate anybody's tenure. That the governor did not conduct an election is no justification.
Would you say then, I mean, right now, sorry, Mr. Inkotaria, sorry to interrupt you. Would you say, if you can hear me, would you say that, it is because you have said that the House of Assembly has no right to extend the tenure of the local government chairman.
Yes.
Nonetheless, they have made that law. It is there. So if they have made that law and said that nobody, apart from those who have been democratically elected, can be local government chairman, shouldn't the House of Assembly be sued? Shouldn't that matter be also handled in court?
It was set aside by just a court. That was a judge. A judge. Which is in consonant and in tandem with the Supreme Court judgment.
You are saying...
consistent, of course. I got the Supreme Court, you have God in heaven.
I'm asking a question. Are you saying that that law, as made by the House of Assembly, has been set aside? Has it been challenged and set aside?
That's what I'm telling you. It's null and void. That's what I'm telling you. By that, the Lord Honorable Justice Agoja.
Permit me to come in.
So it was set aside. That is it. But I want us to make this distinction. The issue of local government, the elongation of the tenure of the local government chairman, the tenure of the elongation of the tenure, and the issue of conduct of elections.
Some people will say that they're not so different. They're not so different because one has a bearing on the other. Mr. Inko-Tariah, one has a bearing on the other. If you do not conduct local government elections, who are the local government chairmen supposed to hand over to?
It is tangential. In 2015, when we got into office, we had city local government chairmen who are just elected. They are not removed. Their case is even Court of Appeal. They are not removed. And caretaker committees are appointed. But that does not justify the appointment of caretaker committees. But because you asked the court, that's why they said the HPMs also to carry on to the whole force. Pending when caretaker chairman will be sworn in and proper elections will be conducted. But I hope we are not going to get this thing mixed up. But please. My point is this. Okay, fine. We also have conducted local government elections, which we are not conducted. But does that mean that they have to, because the elections are not good, they have to elevate the tenure of the chairman? No.
Well, some people will say, Mr. Inko-Tariah, that it is okay. I mean, we've seen this happen in many states across the Federation, whereby local government elections are not conducted for years. And, caretaker chairmen are put in office. We're seeing right now the federal government, through the Attorney General, go to court to challenge, what has been happening at the level of the states. Because some people will say, look, we've accepted this, over the years, despite its illegality, that if it were the states that these same things were happening to, that an election for maybe governorship position was supposed to be conducted and it wasn't conducted, will we be saying the same thing? Would we be saying it is okay for, a caretaker committee, for instance, to run a state government? Will this sort of things be acceptable?
No. I'm not. First and foremost, it's not okay. You ask if it's okay. It's not okay. You can't have a caretaker committee running, unless in the case of where maybe they declare a state of emergency or maybe something happens. But in this case, we are talking of necessitarianism. You don't have a choice. And definitely we must have persons running the local government, because we are not going to bring the activities of local government to a halt because elections are not conducted or we don't have local government chairman anymore. And that's why HPMs are there.
Is this really a necessity? Wasn't this a necessity that was foreseen?
Sorry?
Isn't this a necessity that was foreseen? We knew that the tenure of the local government chairman was going to come to an end. Yet, no local government elections were conducted.
If you listen to me carefully, the governor did not give any reason for not conducting the local government election. That is one. Therefore, I said, can you hear me, please? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yes. And therefore, I said, these are just my opinions. It's a question of conjecture. I'm not saying as a matter of fact why the local government elections were not conducted. I just get some reasons. I just have some reasons. That's all. But then, that the local government elections were not conducted does not justify an elongation. That is my point. And so their tenure came to an end 12 midnight by fluctuation of time, 12 midnight yesterday. So they are no longer in office. And this is consistent with a Supreme Court ruling until the Supreme Court reverses itself. Because it said you cannot elongate the tenure. The law cannot be done retroactively. I'm not even bothered about going into Mala for the intent of the law. I'm not even going to go into that. Where you say it has an ulterior motive. Let us leave that. Let us say the tenure of the local government chairman have their tenures have expired. So is my brother telling me now that notwithstanding the expiration of their tenure, that they should have been allowed in office? Because the House, don't forget that same House of Assembly, that law he made reference to was set aside by the court, validated by the court. Just recently, this last week or thereabout.
All right, Senator Wogo, you said you wanted to comment on that particular judgment. Do you have an update?
Yes, please. I think I want to just let my brother know a few things. One, who has the constitutional duty to set tenure for local government? The State Assembly. Did they do that? Yes. Who has responsibility for conducting elections to replace the chairman at the end of their tenure? An agency of government. Did they do that? No. Who has responsibility for doing any correctional measures if something went wrong? The State Assembly, by the law. They are the ones who can decide tenure. They are the only people who can decide the aftermath of the composition of government if tenure fails. And the Constitution just gave a broad guideline. It must be elected people. So the State Assembly in its wisdom, and they've done a beautiful thing for all states to look at. They said, okay, in the event of war, catastrophe, or any problem, even the refusal or sheer failure to conduct elections, we shall, as provided for Mr. President, provide for the council chairman. It's a domestication of federal law for the local government. It's not an aberration. It's not what we want, but it's the best we can get now because we want to stop this impunity.
Senator Wogo, if I may comment, Senator Wogo, just let's clarify some things here. Yes, you've talked about the fact that it's the State Assembly that has the powers to set the time frame of the tenure for the local government chairman.
Yes.
But that court judgment, you mentioned it earlier, where Justice DGQ said extending the tenure of the local government chairman does not, if I read that correctly, it says is inconsistent. That law is inconsistent with the 1999 Constitution as amended and Section 9(1) of the Rivers State Law, number 5 of 2018. Has that judgment been appealed? Is there a stay of execution of that judgment?
No. You see, the appeal court's ruling of a few days ago clearly says that they should maintain status quo. Now, what has happened with that is that while independency of the appeal courts dealing with the jurisdiction, whether this court even has the power to sit, because the High Court of a state does not have power to sit over these issues. While they were on that, for some curious reasons, the court proceeded to give a judgment. And the Court of Appeal took judicial notice of it and said, everybody revert to the status you were before the matter. Okay, so whatever ruling anybody gave is in abeyance because the court has said everybody revert. The Court of Appeal is superior to the High Court. The High Court wants to give a ruling on a matter where the appeal court was going to decide whether it even has power to give any ruling. And the Court of Appeal says, everybody go back to where you were at the time this case. Mr.
Wogo, let's just listen to these comments from Asari Dokubo and the police as regards the tenure of the local government chairman in Rivers State, so that the both of you can weigh in because we're almost out of time. Let's listen to this.
Only one man can be governor of Rivers State at a time. We will not have two governors. And the people of Rivers State are bigger than Mujahid Dokubo Asari. Rivers State is bigger than any individual. No individual can take Rivers State people for a ride and pocket us. It's not possible. Local government tenure has expired today. They should quietly go home. If they want to seek re-election in accordance with the Constitution, they should go and seek re-election. But there is no tenure elongation in the Constitution. Their position is tenure ban, and that tenure has expired. Let them not cause unnecessary problem for the people of the state. And I want to advise young people that, look, don't allow yourself to be used. Most of us, their children are not here. And their children have never come out to stand in front of any protest. They are not like Mandela and his children, or me and my children, or anybody. A lot of people, they've not done this. So nobody should be allowed. Most of them were with us. Today they are bigger than us. They have become very wealthy. They have become very powerful. But is that why you should submit yourself to be used by them?
We are aware of the crisis that has to do with the tenure of the local government chairman. We have gotten one court order or the other about it. The Court of Appeal has given an order, and for everybody to exercise restraint till 20th of this month, just 3 days. So we expect everybody to respect it, not to take loss into their hands, and allow peace to continue as it is. We are not taking it lightly. We are ready to go. Our officers have been on show of force. We have had additional men given to us from the headquarters. Equipment have been serviced. We are ready to go. This is just to assure members of the public that so far as we are concerned, we are ready to do our jobs of protecting lives and properties. And we have tried our best. We have warned anybody who will want to take laws into their hands. I want to use this opportunity to talk to parents, to call their children and talk to them, so that their children will not be used as cannon fodder in this crisis.
All right, Senator Wogu, if we could have you respond to this real quick. The tenure of the local government chairman, River State's over. Next line of action. Real quick, please.
No, what I have there, with due respect to Asari, is his opinion. He should apply himself to the law. You see, you must keep going back to the law. You want peace, then stay within the law. The law gives power for composition tenure to the assembly. The assembly passed a law that has not been repealed or challenged in any court, to local government administration law 2023. And it completely says you cannot set up any caretaker. The governor
all right, all right, thank you. Let's go to Mr. Inkotaria, please. Mr. Inkotaria, please react real quick.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Mr. Inkotaria, go ahead, please.
Can you hear?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's the law that prescribes the tenure of local government chairman. And it's even on that premise that the court judgment, that the court gave its judgment that the House Assembly doesn't have the right to extend the local government chairman, the tenure of the local government chairman. So that is number one. Number two, I can tell you authoritatively that, okay, if you look at 2015, when we first got into office, when the elected local government chairman, the councils were dissolved, and interim caretaker committees were set up, they went to court. If you have no ulterior motive, why are you insisting that you're going to be in office?
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Senator Olakan Wogu, representing Rivers South East constituency, joined us virtually from Port Harcourt City. Thank you for coming in. And Opunabo Inkotaria, public affairs analyst and former SA media to the Rivers State governor. Thank you both, gentlemen, for coming in this morning to share your thoughts on the situation. We'll move on now to our business segment on Sunrise Daily. We'll be back in a moment. Just stay.